Hi, welcome back to the channel. So, in this video, I'm going to take you through solutions of equations in one variable, and the question that I'm going to look at particularly is question 7 of this worksheet, which says, for each of the following, the equation f of x is equals to 0 has been written in the form x is equals to g of x. Determine which ones converge to a fixed point in the specified interval. Okay, so I'm going to use question 7a as an example. Okay, but before I do that, what is really question 7 talking about? What's the theory behind this question? Okay, because uh, the key here is we are looking for one that is going to converge to a what? To a fixed point. So how do we determine this convergence? That's the question right now. So what you're basically doing here is you are taking into consideration that this is fixed point. Okay, this is fixed point iteration. Okay, I'll say fixed point iteration convergence theorem. Convergence theorem like that. Okay, so if you have a continuous function g of x, okay, if you have a continuous function g of x on some interval a comma b, um, there 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 are two conditions, if I would call them like that, that you need to take into consideration. Consider to say this is a continuous function on this interval here. So the first condition that you'd want to look at is existence. Okay, is existence. So what do I really mean by existence? Okay, so if your g of x uh, is on your a comma b, okay, for all values of for all values, meaning like for all x that is also within the same interval a comma b, uh, this is just going to be more like it's such that your g, okay, your g maps um, your g maps the interval uh, into itself. Okay, so look at this. For your g of x within a comma b, for all x values that are within that, okay, uh, such that your g maps the interval into itself, then would say then g has at least one fixed point on the same interval, which is a comma b. So let me try to say it again. For g of x within this interval, for all values of x that are within this interval, g maps the interval into itself. Okay, if your g maps the interval into itself, this means that g has at least one fixed point, okay, on this one. That's the first condition. The second condition is you're going to look at convergence itself. Okay, you're going to look at convergence itself. So meaning you have to first of all satisfy the first condition, then you try to get to the second one. So for the second condition, um, maybe in brackets I can also just indicate to say this is the contraction mapping theorem, contraction mapping theorem, CMT. Uh, so for this one, if in addition there exists a constant, okay, so it simply means if there exists a constant, let me use k, uh, such that g prime, okay, g prime of x is less than or equal to k. Okay, this is for all x within a comma b. Then um, then the conclusion that we're going to make is that firstly there's a fixed point P in what? In A comma B. Well, let me say there is a fixed point, but what's unique is that P in A comma B is what? Is unique. Okay, is unique. All of this is going to make sense when we do an example. Then the other one is that for any starting point P naught, okay, in A comma B, the iteration P sub n plus 1 is equals to G of P sub n converges to what? Converges to P. Okay, maybe just a summary of what I was talking about here. So the idea is, first of all, we have to ensure there is existence, meaning um, we have to evaluate. Okay, we have to ensure our g of x, as it has mentioned, to say your g, such that your g maps the interval into itself, meaning g has one, or let me say g has at least a fixed point within that particular interval. Then you also get to look at the convergence, where you say it's the contraction mapping theorem. Then maybe what's the last part that I can talk about before we work out the example? uh, so maybe now the question is, because uh, if you look at this part, they're asking us to determine which one converges, any of these A to E. Okay, so the question is, how do you determine that convergence? Okay, maybe a summary of how you determine the convergence. So how we are going to determine the convergence is that first of all we are going to check the range. Okay, first of all we are going to check the range, and we have to ensure that our g of x stays, okay, it stays within the given interval, within your a comma what, your a comma b. That's the first thing that you do. The second thing that you do is you check the derivative, because remember, on the second part of the conditions we said, um, there exists a constant, where your k is like 0, uh, less than or equal to k less than 1, such that your g prime of x, like that, is less than k, like that. So here we say, check the derivative and just ensure that the magnitude of the derivative is strictly less than 1 across the entire interval, meaning the magnitude of the interval, sorry, the magnitude of the derivative has to be less than what, uh, has to be less than 1. If it is less than 1, then that tells you that it converges. If you find that it's greater than 1, it diverges. If you find that it's equals to 1, that's inconclusive. In When it's inconclusive, it's more like, it's either it's slow or it's unstable, in terms of like you have slow convergence or it's unstable, in short. Okay, so let's now get to look at the question. We are going to use question 7a as an example, where you have your g of x is equals to 5 over x squared plus 2 on 2.5 comma 3. So our f of x is equals to 5 over x squared plus 2, and the interval that we have is 2 comma 5 comma 3, sorry, 2.5 comma 3. Then, so here, remember, the first thing that we have to do is to check the range, and we have to ensure that our g of x is within that one there. Okay, so let's try to say, and why did I put f of x here? This is supposed to be g of x. It's supposed to be g of x. It's supposed to be g of x, like that. So let's try to evaluate for 2.5. This will be equals to 5 over 2.5 squared plus 2. So working that out on your calculator, we get that will be 2.8, because this is 0.8. Then our g of 3, it will be equals to, um, here we can say is 5 over 3 squared, which is a 9 plus a 2. So excuse me. So this part right here is going to give you 0.5555, but I just say 0.556, which if you add it with that one, that's going to be 2.556, like that. So what we have gotten here is 2.556 comma 2.8. Observe to say the biggest value you have here is a 3, meaning this one is still within. The smallest we have is a 2.5, and this one is bigger than 2.5, meaning it's between 3 and what? It's between 2.5 and 3, like what we have gotten, like this value and that value. So we have satisfied the first condition. Okay. So meaning we can go to the second part where we look at the derivative. So the derivative of g of x is g prime of x, which is going to be equals to negative 10 over x to the power 3. This is going to be a 0. How have I gotten that? Your g of x can be written as 5 by x to the power negative 2 plus 2, like that. So you just like use the power rule there to differentiate. So now what is remaining here is we mentioned to say ensure that the magnitude of the derivative is strictly less than 1. So what we are going to do here is that we are saying the absolute value of g of x is equals to absolute value of minus 10 divided by x to the power 3, like that. So this can just be written as 10 over x to the power 3, like that. Okay, so now here whatever you are trying to do, try to maximize it, and observe to say uh, this one here is a decreasing it's a decreasing function, like the the bigger the value of x, the more smaller it is, like it's a decreasing function, in short. So what you should try to do is to maximize it. Okay, so you should ask yourself to say between 2.5 and 3, what can I substitute here such that it's going to be maximum? Obviously it's a smaller value, which is the 2.5. So here we're going to say is 10 divided by 2.5 to the power 3. 2.5 to the power 3, I'm getting 0.64, which is obviously less than what? Less than 1. And that's what we are trying to achieve here, because we wanted to say, we mentioned to say ensure that the magnitude of the derivative is strictly less than 1 across the what? Across the entire interval. Okay, so that's what we have gotten. And obviously, even if we substitute the 3 there, that would be uh, uh, let me see, that's going to be 10 divided by, I think that would be 27. This is also going to be a smaller in some value less than 1. So we have considering the fact that this is less than 1, and we have also satisfied this condition, we can say therefore our g of x converges, and that's how we work that one out. So that will be all in this video. Thank you very much for watching.